Pleasant greetings to all. Have you heard of the Peter Principle? The Peter Principle states that a person who is competent at their job will earn a promotion to a position that requires different skills. If the promoted person lacks the skills required for the new role, they will be incompetent at the new level and will not be promoted again. Haha, a strange principle, right? No, it is not named after St. Peter. St. Peter was promoted to the papacy and had proven himself very competent by offering his life to the Lord. Rather, the Peter Principle is named after Lawrence J. Peter, a Canadian educator. Lawrence J. Peter observed that usually, for example, in technical industries, where skilled employees are naturally promoted to managerial roles, it happens despite the fact that the competence of such workers is based on their technical prowess rather than their ability to manage or lead. The end result is always devastating for the entire industry. Not to mince words here, our point is, especially as we face the national and local elections, do not dare promote people into public office who are skilled at manipulation, trickery, and deception. This will be a great loss for the nation, for each of us, and our children. Please, you must promote good public servants who have proven track records of good shepherding. But let's leave the polls to God's mighty hands for now. Lawrence J. Peter, author of Peter's Principle, incidentally also stated something like this, and I quote, "The seaman tells stories of winds, the plowman of bulls, the soldier details his wounds, the shepherd his sheep." I agree. So, for us to appreciate who the Good Shepherd is, let us hear what a Good Shepherd has to say about himself.
I am a shepherd. I've always been a shepherd. I spend all my days here in the fields with my sheep near me. When they're afraid, my sheep look to me. They know that I will never leave them. I protect them with this rod I made from a strong oak sapling I dug up long ago. It's been with me as long as I've been a shepherd. I also carry a staff. With it I climb ahead and make sure the crevices and caves on our path are clear of rocks and other potentially harmful things. I also use it to reach the sheep farthest from me. I want them to feel my touch so that they know I'm near and be comforted by my presence. They need my staff to lead them, and I think they know that. I've walked every step of this path myself, so I gather them close around me and we cross through the dark places together. I know each of my sheep, even when they're running from me. It may sound odd to one who's not familiar with this life, but I love my sheep. I would search to the edge of the desert to find one lost.
I am a shepherd. I have always been an agape shepherd.
For the next part, let us get into our characteristics as sheep and how sometimes we can give our shepherd some hard time pasturing us.
After knowing who the shepherd is, let us get to know ourselves, the sheep and flock that we are. We will mention only 2 characteristics in this clip. Please refer to the lecturette notes for the rest of interesting traits like their flocking behavior, their behavior of following the leader, among others. The characteristic of sheep that interests us for now has something to do with 2 of its senses. First is their sense of sight. Sheep depend heavily upon their vision. They have a very large pupil that is somewhat rectangular in shape. With only slight head movement, sheep are able to scan their surroundings. Their field of vision ranges from 191 to 306 degrees, depending upon the amount of wool on their face. However, sheep have poor eyesight and poor depth perception, doing poorly in three-dimensional vision, especially if they are moving with their heads up. This is why they will often stop to examine something more closely despite their wide-ranging field of vision. Sheep have difficulty picking out small details, such as an open space created by a partially open gate or a gaping hole in their path. The sheep relies only on the shepherd's voice for direction. On their own, they tend to avoid shadows and sharp contrasts between light and dark. They are reluctant to go where they can't see. Second is their sense of hearing. To compensate for this poor perception, sheep have excellent hearing. They can amplify and pinpoint sound with their ears. In fact, sound arrives at each ear at a different time. Sheep are frightened by sudden loud noises, such as yelling or barking. In response to loud noises and other unnatural sounds, sheep become nervous and more difficult to handle. To minimize stress, the handler should speak in a quiet, calm voice. Sheep should not be worked in the presence of barking dogs. Now let us compare two Latin words. Picus and peccatum. Picus is sheep, in Latin, peccatum is sin in Latin. Both share two common characteristics: short-sightedness. As we have seen, due to the sheep's poor eyesight, the shepherd has to call the sheep with a gentle voice and often, when possible, by name. The sheep literally depends only on the shepherd's voice for direction. Similarly, sin is the effect of short-sightedness. It is the effect of enjoying gratification in the here and now and forgetting everything good we've already known and seen before. Their second common characteristic is that both the short-sightedness of the sheep and sin can be cured by listening to a voice. Just as the shepherd's voice is a cure for the sheep's short-sightedness, so too, the short-sightedness of man leading him to sin may be prevented by his listening to the voice of the Good Shepherd. Yes, we all suffered from some form of spiritual short-sightedness from time to time. Some even suffered from spiritual blindness the rest of one's life. But the good news is that this blindness, this short-sightedness, can be cured, can be helped, can be healed, by listening. No wonder, Jesus assures us in John 10:27, "My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish."
Jesus, our Good Shepherd, asks us to be good shepherds too, simply by loving in an agape way. Are we really ready to lay down our lives for God and for one another? America's Funniest Home Videos once featured this video submission, which is not really funny at all, but is most moving. A child telling us how to love in an agape way concretely. What about you? Who are you shepherding nowadays? If there's one take-home lesson for our Shepherding 101 course, it is this: on agape love, go public, go pastoral, go personal. May God bless you.